All right. Now, I am also, because I'm moving the slides, I have found that it's a bit easier for everyone if I turn my camera off. It helps with the delay as I'm advancing slides. So I'm going to turn off my camera now, but then come back on here shortly. Okay. Okay, so again, I am Megan, joined here tonight by Maya Key, our development director, and Marcy Thrash, our program director. Sarah Schmidt from the Big Fix Uganda is our featured guest tonight. So she is here as well to talk with you about the programs of the Big Fix Uganda, including their Comfort Dog project. The Big Fix Uganda has been a partner of Project AnimalAid since 2014. So a pretty long time. Project AnimalAid started in 2009. So the Big Fix Uganda was one of the original partners. So excited for them to share, for Sarah to share their story. Um, so if you have questions, if you could put them in the chat, just type them into the chat, and we'll compile them through the presentation and get to them at the end. So again, thank you so much for your support of Project AnimalAid. We wanted to share ways that you, through your support, are making a difference every day in Uganda and in other areas in the world. We do have people on the call from outside of Colorado, so time zones are different. Liliana, you're in Albania, so thanks so much for making time. And sit back, relax, and know that because of you, all the things that we're going to talk about tonight are possible. And the animals that you see are living better, healthier lives. So, as you'll see on this slide, Project AnimalAid works with 125 animal welfare partners in 43 countries around the world. Some of those countries include Colombia, Greenland, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and many African countries. And you, as supporters of Project AnimalAid, you know, but our partners provide veterinary care to animals of all kinds. So that's companion animals, working animals, wildlife, both free roaming and those in captivity, exotics, farm animals, really any type of animal. And our dual purpose is to keep valuable, usable veterinary equipment and supplies from the landfill and put them into the hands of the veterinarians and animal care workers who use these tools every day in their care for animals in need.
So cool.
So this slide reflects what you made possible for Project AnimalAid in 2024. We'll talk about 2025, but as shown here, in 2024, Project AnimalAid sent about 800 parcels that totaled over 20,000 pounds or 10 tons of usable, perfectly good product to our partners. This product would have otherwise been destined for the landfill, incinerators, or a lot of times just sitting in a closet, gathering dust and not being utilized when they could be. This year, 2025, has been pretty incredible for Project AnimalAid. So far, we have received 18 tons of product. That has consisted of 17 pallets of surgical instruments, 10 pallets of mixed supplies, and we have 8 pallets that are just kind of sitting, waiting to come here in the next few weeks. These deliveries, these huge deliveries, are in addition to the boxes that we receive in the mail or drop off donations when people just come by the warehouse, and unique partnerships that we have with hospitals and other organizations that we'll talk about in a little bit. So this next slide, it's a lot of numbers, and I know there's some numbers people out there, but there's also people who aren't. But the information here is really impressive, and so I just wanted to kind of show what these numbers represent. So each year, Project AnimalAid sends a survey to our partners and asks them to provide some numbers based on the care that they give to the animals they treat. And we take those numbers and we compile them for all 125 partners. And what you see here is the result. So, for example, of all of our partners, they provided over 550,000 vaccination services to animals. They've provided parasite control measures and disease surveillance to almost 2 million animals. The large number, the 1.6 million, that was an enormous flock of birds. And I think Marcy could give more information on that if anyone was interested. But this is important, meaningful work that is being done every year by our partners, and you are helping make it possible. As every year, our product and in-kind donations to continue to increase. That's been especially true this year, like I mentioned. So these photos show a bit of the items that we receive regular: bandaging, gloves, tubing, toys, as well as some of the invaluable equipment that has been placed throughout the year. All of these donations are usable, operational, and desperately needed. This year, we continued our partnership with Blue Pearl Specialty and Emergency Pet Hospitals, and we expanded to include Banfield Pet Hospitals as well. We've continued to work with Denver Health Medical Center and have also added in several other Boulder County hospitals that are local to us. All of this in addition to the other donations that we receive. And this last slide, because I'm highlighting some of the in-kind donations, I just had to include this one. We added the group, the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust, to our approved frontline partner list this year. This is an all-female anti-poaching team based in Zimbabwe. They work with these dedicated and fully trained dogs to track human scent and apprehend when needed. So we had some of these visors in inventory, and Marcy, our program director, sent them off to the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation, thinking that they may be useful. It turns out they're incredibly useful in that they allow the dogs to stay focused and really, kind of head down when they're tracking. So Marcy actually reached out to the manufacturer and requested an additional donation so that we could provide those ongoing to the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation. So these visors and the dogs working to keep rhinos and other endangered species safe. So now I would like to transition over to Sarah Schmidt again from the Big Fix Uganda. She's going to talk a lot about their work. But Sarah, just wanted to say to you, we've worked together for a number of years and have just really appreciated all of your dedication and hard work. And you are really a champion for animals, but also war trauma survivors and the people of Northern Uganda. So thank you, and take it away.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I hope that by telling a little bit about our humble beginnings and our story, our evolution, it will really illustrate the importance of the work that Project Animal Aid is doing. I would venture to say that most of those 125 charities that are benefiting from these supplies from Project Animal Aid are small ones like us. And so every supply that's sent to us helps us reach more animals. Next slide. This is us, some of our hospital team members with the last parcel we just got recently from Project Animal Aid. And we received our very first, if you can imagine, fluid pump and IV warmer. Never had one before. And those Elizabethan collars are also very, very helpful to us. So thank you very much to everyone for being involved in this important work. Next slide. So the Big Fix Uganda is the only animal hospital and veterinary laboratory in northern Uganda, which is home to more than 9 million people. Our primary work is in veterinary service. We reach about 40 to 60 villages a year in areas where otherwise there wouldn't be any veterinary service. We also have an education program and our Comfort Dog project. Next slide. If you've heard about us, you probably have heard about us because of the Comfort Dog project. That project was born in 2014, 2015 because we saw a need to help both the dogs who were struggling and also the people who were struggling. And we knew from our own experiences that they could heal each other. Next slide. But to understand our evolution, I have to tell you a little bit about Northern Uganda. Northern Uganda was home to a war that lasted 20 years involving the Ugandan government and the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, under Joseph Kony's leadership. If you know about the war, then you know that many, many children were abducted and forced to serve as rebel soldiers, some children spending their entire childhood in the bush with guns. And the devastation to the communities was really beyond our comprehension here in the Western world. Next slide. During those 20 years of war, more than 100,000 people were killed, most in very brutal ways. Tens of thousands of young people, as young as 7, 8 years old, were abducted and forced to serve as rebel soldiers. Millions of people were forced to leave their villages and live in IDP camps, internally displaced person camps. This was a war strategy because the rebel soldiers fueled themselves by raiding the villages. And so the government thought, well, let's put all the people into these IDP camps. The problem was that the camps also weren't safe, and the camps had horrible conditions. Cholera deaths were common. People stood in line all day long for a jerry can of water. It was just terrible, but an entire generation of young people grew up in these camps. And as a result of the war, there was economic collapse of the whole region. Next slide. The war had a devastating impact on the animals. The ones who survived were the dogs and the cats. Most livestock, most wildlife were wiped out during the time of the war. Um, there was no veterinary care in the region for 20 years. When we started working there, there were people in the remote villages who were surprised to learn that there were doctors for animals. This resulted in an overpopulation of dogs and the rampant spread of diseases, especially rabies, which still kills many people and animals to this day in our region. And there was tremendous suffering of the animals, suffering from easily treatable conditions. And again, the nearest diagnostic lab or vet hospital was more than 8 hours away on very difficult roads to traverse. Next. The impact on the people from the war was also dramatic. It was estimated that 70% of people in northern Uganda, even to this day, are suffering from the effects of war trauma. Especially in the decade after the war ended, there were very high suicide rates, and there were so many complex problems because so many children had been raised in these camps instead of being in the village setting where they were growing their own food. Those who were abducted and forced to serve as soldiers, when they returned home, instead of finding a loving embrace, they found that they were stigmatized by their communities. People had lost the ability to form social bonds, parent their children, or work together as a community. And of course, on top of this, there were no economic opportunities. Next slide. Historically, the Acholi people of northern Uganda have always lived alongside dogs. But just as life is difficult for the people, it's also very difficult for the dogs. Next slide. While you will find dogs, near every hut in every village, it's normally been thought that dogs can just fend for themselves. They can find their own food and water. So while they may live with families, few of them were actually receiving food or water from the families they lived with. Next slide. But as difficult as the life was for the dogs, it was equally as difficult for the people. Our science advisor, Meg Olmert, has described that the lives of dogs were short and brutish, but the same was true for the people in the region. Next slide. In the Acholi people, there's a very, very old, firmly held saying, if you're very sick and you have no money, then you'll heal like a dog, meaning no one's going to help you, and you're either going to live or die. It's a fairly grim prognosis. Next slide. So, our mission in 2012 was to alleviate the suffering of animals, promote the health and welfare of animals and people, and to promote the human animal bond. Next slide. We started in 2012 going into the schools as people were returning to their villages and schools were being rebuilt. And it was surprising that even head teachers didn't realize that animals have feelings, that they can feel pain. So our education work was very important. Next slide. We also started with village field clinics, providing free vaccinations, deworming, wound treatment, and spay and neuter. And that was all possible because of our very early partnership with Makerere University. On the left there is our beloved Dr. Bernard Aguay, who was with us from day one, and he's our trustee of our organization. Next. After the war, it was very difficult to get to the villages. This was a typical road to the village. As you can see, while the infrastructure has improved in the last 15 years, initially it was very difficult to get to these places where people were living. Next slide. So when we held our field clinics initially, we would send our vet doctors and our vet assistants on off-road motorbikes and load up as many supplies as we could carry on the backs of those motorbikes. That's an entire partial field clinic setup, including tent there on the back of that motorbike.
Oh my
Next
gosh.
slide. And our initial surgeries were done, on the ground usually, but if we had some kind of a low table, the doctors would be bent over all day like this, performing surgery. I think we had about 8 or 10 sets of surgical instruments when we started off. And so you can imagine that every roll of gauze, every surgical instrument, every pair of gloves helped us a lot, especially in those early days. Next slide. And the people came. This was an amazing thing. As little as the people had, it was so common that they would walk for hours to bring their dogs to us. They would wait for hours to get a rabies vaccination. One day I was in Gulu when we rented a house as our initial clinic, and a gentleman had walked for 3 days barefoot with his 3 dogs because he wanted them to get a rabies vaccination after there was a rabid dog in his town. So because the people were so committed, it really motivated us to keep going back and to do all that we could. Next slide. And we really appreciated that the children who normally cared for the animals really showed so much love and compassion for the animals. And again, we're willing to wait all day long to have a sick animal be seen by us. Next slide. So fast forward a little bit, after receiving a grant from Dogs Trust Worldwide, in September 2016, we opened our current hospital. As I said, we had a small clinic in town beginning 2013, but this was the first veterinary hospital in northern Uganda, and we've been open 365 days a year since then and received emergencies 24 hours a day. Next slide. This is just a short video to kind of show you what things look like at the Big Fix today. So this is showing our current hospital building, which now has a pharmacy annex on one side. And you probably didn't see coming in, we also have a parvo isolation treatment unit next to the hospital. And this is our Athena house for community dogs. This is our new kennel building. And that roll-up door is to our cattery, and this is our training yard. And this is the inside of our kennel building. Art and dance are very big, so that's why we have art everywhere. And this is the inside of our hospital presently. So as you can see, we've made a lot of progress, but it's still rather modest. So this brings us to the evolution of the Comfort Dog Project. Jane Goodall always wrote that you can't help the animals without helping the people who live among them. And so we, out of this concern for the people who were committing suicide and who were really struggling, we developed the Comfort Dog Project. Next slide. The Comfort Dog Project came as a result of my friendship with Francis Okello Aloya, who himself was a war trauma survivor. At the age of 12, he was blinded by a bomb blast, but he went on to university to become a community psychologist. And when I met him, he had come back to the North because he wanted to help his people to overcome their trauma. And the theory behind the project is that dogs who have been traumatized can help people who have been traumatized. And we really advocate that our local dogs are the best dogs for this purpose. Next slide. One of the main theories is that by engaging in activities like dog training, bathing, and other things, uh, you learn to develop those skills that are lost when you suffer from PTSD. This is one of the first things that we teach. It's the maneuver Watch Me. And there's such a sense of joy when guardians achieve this with their dog. Um, it's also important to note that we don't care about having a trained dog. What we care about is building bonds. So we use the training, we use bathing, we have them do exercises like observing their dogs and reporting about the dog's likes and dislikes. Those things help to develop a bond, and the bond results in the healing. Next slide. So for these people who weren't able to support and rely on one another because of their trauma, they first learned to rely on and build a bond with their dog. Next slide. And from that bond came being bonded to their fellow Comfort Dog Project guardians. They're now over 120 in number, and most remain very active in the program. We do make a lifetime commitment to every dog and guardian. We provide free lifetime care to all of these dogs. And after being able to connect with one another, they've been able to go into their communities and again connect with their family members, communities, and become strong advocates in their communities. Next slide. We were very fortunate that Meg Olmert, the author of the book Made for Each Other, which is, I think, the seminal work on the biology of the human-animal bond, she became our science advisor very early on and helped us to document the effectiveness of working with dogs on PTSD recovery. We do that by measuring PTSD symptom severity with a number of different assessment tools. Next slide. And in 2021, Meg published an article in a peer-reviewed journal which demonstrated the efficacy of the Comfort Dog Project model as an effective tool for trauma recovery. Next slide. Since it's a bit unusual that dogs who were, feared because of rabies and other things became a mechanism for healing, they've had a number of documentaries and news reports about the Comfort Dog Project, but the one that we're most excited about is an upcoming film by Richard Wainwright from Australia called The Comfort Dogs of Uganda, which is going to be premiering in February. Rich is a longtime supporter of our work, but he also was a journalist in northern Uganda during the time of the war, so he really understands and has a deep love for the Acholi people. Next, and I think we're going to show you a brief trailer from that film.
Ame maka na tiki maka tara dek.
Irong mwaka mapchar mwane.
When the meal of the way chi.
Ka kiek mo ni ngaro lwe ke kelo ke neka ma wono na.
Ta ber ga si mutaka. Na ta na bete obe megi chui chui na.
We have the Comfort Dog Project, using dogs to help people who have gone through post-traumatic stress disorder and depression.
Combat trauma is a specific kind of trauma, and it directly injures the social brain network.
The Comfort Dog Project dogs rescued dogs from the community.
Tommy, security dog, wako, gangkwan. Manya te lo kani. Ana ber la moñ, ki mia ber la moñ la wara. Eh.
Oxytocin is central to the human-dog relationship. With the oxytocin released in the human brain, it quiets the fear centers and shuts down fight-flight.
Cha ki mia gam. Mia chao din.
Both the dog and the war trauma survivors will be healing together.
Kaya dani yo ke na tammi gwak rama kanya ne no pa kai wia. Ni ki chak ke de la ya me kare chane.
Next slide. Yes, I'm very proud to say that of our 34 permanent full-time and part-time staff members, half of them are graduates of our Comfort Dog Project, from dog walkers to our veterinary assistants who have undergone extensive training that we've provided to them. And I think that background makes our team at the Big Fix exceptionally devoted and committed. We almost never lose a staff member. Next. And this is our education team, which includes 4 Comfort Dog Project Dog Guardian teams. And interestingly, one of our most important members is the gentleman in the middle in the police uniform. Yes, he is one of the top police officials in northern Uganda. And you can believe that when he goes into schools telling children they better not throw stones at dogs, they're not going to do it. Also, next to Francis, we have one of the top education officers. He also got so interested in our work that he's now part of our school outreach team. So we're really proud of this education team. Next. To date, we've visited over 375 schools and reached hundreds of thousands of children with our message, and distributed more than 60,000 copies of our Great Dog Guardian book. Next. And at our hospital and in the villages, we've treated more than 130,000 dogs. The average admitted patient population at our hospital is 48. So we have a lot of animals to care for every day. Next. This is our pharmacy and our wonderful hospital administrator, Samuel. And as you can see, we wish our shelves were a lot fuller than they are, but we go through supplies so quickly. One of our biggest budget expenditures besides staff compensation is veterinary supplies and drugs. And our budget to run all of these programs for supplies alone is about $3,000 a month. And as you can imagine, for a small shoestring charity like ours, that's a huge amount of money. Next slide. And that means that every donation that we've received from Project Animal Aid has been just a big help to us. A lot of the items we receive are not even available in Uganda, like the Elizabethan collars, or if they are, they're expensive or of poor quality. The syringes and needles we get from you are so much better than the ones we can buy on the open market. And another thing that's very important, which may not have been commented on yet, is when our team receives a parcel, it lets them know that there are other people on the other side of the world who fully support us. And that is such a morale boost. And it can be very isolating work. And so this makes us feel that we're part of a bigger community that cares about what we're doing. And that is so important. Next. So if you remember anything about the Big Fix Uganda, I think what I'd like you to remember is that we're a place where the victims of war and the dogs who had been considered worthless are now healing each other and healing their communities. And we hope that that Acholi saying, you will heal like a dog, can now be changed to, you will heal with a dog. Thank you so much. That's our amazing Dr. Godra, by the way, on the last slide.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was the the work that Big Fix does is just so inspiring. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, and we are so proud to support the work that the Big Fix and the Comfort Dog Project does. This is Maya again. I am the development director with Project Animal Aid. Thank you all for being here this evening. And I love this event because it's such an intimate way of showing you how your gifts are truly making a difference in the lives of animals around the world. We could not do what we do without your support. So thank you so much. One of the most exciting opportunities that happened this year for Project Animal Aid was our collaboration with Banfield Pet Hospitals. Thank you, Banfield. I think somebody out there in our audience is from Banfield. Thank you so much to you and your team. So in the spring, we were notified that the Banfield Corporation intended to consolidate a significant number of their practices. And with all of the excess equipment from those practices, large and small, that they were going to have, they wanted to know if Project Animal Aid was interested in it. And yes, was the answer. Very much so. This offered an extraordinary opportunity for Project Animal Aid and all of our partners. Veterinary equipment is very expensive and beyond the means of many of our frontline partners. So, over the next several months, Marcy, our program director, worked tirelessly to place these items that included surgical tables, kennel banks, patient monitoring devices, centrifuges, autoclaves into the hands of our partners across the United States. It was a huge undertaking, but it was also a huge success. And the impact on those partners that received the items was immense. We also took in many of the smaller pieces of equipment at our warehouse. They were shipped to us, and those were sent around the world to help our partners overseas, such as the Big Fix. So it was a huge success. And one of the recipients of a large number of items was Peaceable Primate Sanctuary, a wonderful organization in Indiana that provides a permanent home to primates that have been retired from medical research. And they are currently building a veterinary clinic on site to provide better care for all of their residents. And the donation that they received for Project Animal Aid saved them thousands and thousands of dollars. And you can see in the picture all sorts of equipment and supplies. And here's one of their adorable residents who is benefiting from all of that. Next slide. Another organization that we were really happy to be able to provide equipment from this donation was Yola's Pet Rescue out of Wyoming. And Yola's Pet Rescue is adjacent to the Wind River Indian Reservation, which faces a serious stray and feral dog crisis. There are literally thousands of dogs roaming the reservation every day, searching for food, water, and shelter. And Yola's Pet Rescue has been tackling this challenge head on since its founding in 2017. Since that time, they have rescued and rehomed thousands of dogs from the reservation, providing them with food and veterinary care to the pets. Excuse me, but in August, with the help of Project Animal Aid, they were able to finally launch their spay and neuter cruiser that you can see a picture of right here. And it is a mobile clinic offering low-cost spay and neuter surgeries throughout the region. And this is enormous because it means that they are able to travel onto the reservation and provide these crucial services right where the dogs and cats are, creating a huge
Oop,
impact.
my
Uh,
apologies.
that's okay. And Project Animal Aid was able to fully outfit this cruiser with everything they needed, including a surgery table, an anesthesia machine, IV fluid pumps, a scale, autoclave, and by providing these critical tools, Project Animal Aid helped Yola's Pet Rescue save thousands of dollars, funds that they can now direct towards rescuing and feeding and caring for even more animals in need. Next slide.
Now the next slide.
Oh, the next slide. Okay, so as Megan mentioned earlier, another I love this picture of me and Marcy. Another very big and exciting event for Project Animal this year was the receipt of 17 pallets of surgical instruments. And I think there might have actually been some cheers from Marcy and myself when we got the email from the donor. And we have now distributed hundreds of forceps and hemostats and needle drivers and scissors to our partners all around the world. And these are essential items that are used for everything from wound repairs to spays and neuters to dental procedures to major surgeries. So they are absolutely crucial to every veterinary practice. And in this, here in the next picture, you can see the happy faces of the staff at Amisi Canis, our longtime partner organization in Ecuador. That's a picture of them when they opened up the boxes of instruments that Marcy sent to them. And what is truly horrifying is that had we not taken this donation and had they not found Project Animal Aid, these instruments would have been incinerated as garbage. It's it's too, I can't even think about it. I'm so glad that they found us and these instruments are traveling the world, saving lives. Here are a few more pictures from Amisi Canis. So their work is in Cotacachi, Ecuador, as well as in nearby indigenous villages. And they provide high quality and affordable care to owned and stray animals. Another wonderful organization. All right, back to you,
All
Megan.
right. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for all that you do. Um, it gives me chills knowing all that incredible work that you're doing for the communities in northern Uganda. And Maya, thank you too. So we've talked a lot tonight about the large number of donations, in-kind donations that we've received, especially this year. These are large in number, but as Maya just described, also in the size of the donations. So naturally, all of that product has to live somewhere. It has to be counted and organized and sorted and stored before it's sent out to our frontline partners. So since its inception, Project Animal Aid, previously initially Project Vets, have worked out of the one-story building that you see here in this photo. It has been graciously donated to us since the beginning, and we have loved this building very, very well. We have loved every inch of this building. But we've grown as an organization. We've grown pretty substantially since those founding years. So currently, after so many in-kind donations this year, the pallets, the equipment, and just everything that we've received this year, we are bursting at the seams, and it has kind of made
Literally.
it has made the receipt of more in-kind donations a little bit problematic. So this picture on the right, which is hilarious, of Marcy. If you look
What is that
around
picture?
Marcy, if you look around
You know,
Marcy, there's so much incredible product in this space. And we're just overstuffed. And so we had been contemplating and researching a move for quite a little while. And then earlier this year, the stars aligned and we have found our next home. And serendipitously, it's actually a relationship with someone who had previously, and obviously still is, a Project Animal Aid friend, a huge animal lover and advocate. And so it's really exciting. So we are on our way to moving into new warehouse space. As you can see from this picture, it's a true warehouse. It's located about 5 minutes from where we are currently located, so that's amazing. It's about double the size. The rolling garage door is a huge gift. It has an office, it has some high ceilings that allow us to have taller shelving units and more storage space. And the photo there on the right is one of the larger rooms in this new space. Here are a few more pictures as well. We recently had a shelf building crew out to the site. And Patricia, we missed you for the picture, but appreciate the help of everybody who helped build the shelves and are helping us kind of move into this next step. So we're ready for our move. That move, of course, will bring a lot of changes to Project Animal Aid, both logistically, financially, in all the ways. But it will allow us to accept more product, to help more animals, and preserve our planet in a much bigger way. So it is incredibly bittersweet to leave what we call, our home. We've been in that brick building for so long, but this is such a great next step for Project Animal Aid, and we're grateful for you for helping make it possible. So with that exciting news, we wanted to shift to some questions from the group. And I know there's some in the chat, but as we
Yes.
go through those, if you verbally want to ask a question as well, that's fine too.
Yes, we had a couple questions for Sarah, wondering how she started this, how she ended up starting the Big Fix in Uganda. And I think that's probably a question that all of us are very interested in hearing.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, our US charity, now called the Big Fix, actually started in 2001. And we were primarily focused on having shelters and rescue groups work together. And we worked on spay neuter projects, adoption programs. And then we started working in developing countries with veterinary service projects, especially spay neuter. We had a relatively long-term project in Ecuador. We had a project in India. We had a project in a few countries in Central America. And I was in Uganda for another matter, and somebody told me, oh, you want to see where animals are suffering? It's northern Uganda, where the war had just ended a few years earlier. And so I thought, well, I hadn't even been there, but I knew we could do something because we'd organized clinics in other countries. And I was fortunate that Makerere University Vet School was on board. And so we went. And as I said, the first clinic in the villages had such a tremendous response and such gratitude from the people. And I would also mention people wanted their animals spayed and neutered, which is not the case in many places. So it was an absolute joy to work there. And Dr. Ben from Makerere University, after a few months, he told me, you need to build a hospital here next. And I thought, oh, that's crazy. And then, I don't know, it just happened over time. We kept going back, and we're fortunate to have a little bit of support along the way. So that's kind of how it all started.
Oh, that's wonderful. And we did have one of our attendees wondering if you take volunteers.
Oh, we do. We do. In fact, on our premises, our hospital is on a 4-acre compound, and we actually have a guest house slash administrative building. with very comfortable rooms with your own private bathroom, and we host volunteers throughout the year. You can work in our hospital or with our Comfort Dog Project. And yes, please get in touch if you're interested. We've never had one person volunteer who didn't say this changed my life being
Oh,
here.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
this is a question that we kind of went over before, Sarah, and I'm not sure if we have an answer to it, but I promised Leslie we would ask it. Um, the goat in the photo, any thoughts? What happened to it? It looks like it was healing up pretty well, but any thoughts?
We have so many patients. I can't, and we have
I
not
can
only dogs,
imagine.
but goats, cows, chickens, rabbits, I mean, you name it. We've had it at the dog hospital there. So I can't remember in that specific case, but we have had some very interesting cases. We had a baby piglet who was born with basically without a rectum. And our veterinary doctors, just figured out how to do the reconstructive surgery, and that was a huge success for that little piglet. So
Mm.
I'm just guessing that it was probably the baby goat had been attacked by a dog. I'm just guessing from the
Yeah.
bandaging. We have a lot of wound cases. And the thing that's amazing is that people bring animals to the hospital, even if they're not their animals. And that's a huge shift in the region. And we think it's really positive, but it overwhelms us as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay, so Marcy and I were both commenting during your presentation, your wonderful presentation, how similar the dogs tend to look. Like, do you have a name for that kind of dog? Like on the islands they call the island dogs pot cakes. Is there kind of anything similar to that?
I mean, I like to call them Acholi dogs because they're very special dogs, but locally people prefer them to just be called the local dogs.
Okay.
And they do vary in appearance depending on where you are. When you're closer to town, they tend to be larger. When you're far out in the most remote villages, they tend to be smaller and more wiry because they're normally used for hunting in those more
Oh,
remote places.
oh, fascinating. Um, any other questions? Feel free to chime in, or you can put it in the chat for Sarah or for Megan or me or Marcy.
It would be fun to have let's see, there's 22 of us on here, a volunteer crew of 22
Yes. My gosh.
going to northern Uganda.
We that
I
I
have
don't
a
know. We could
question.
still find a way to accommodate you if you all want to come at once.
I think
Authentic experience.
somebody just said they had a question. Do you want to just chime in?
Yes, thank you. My name is Gloria. My question is related to how can we really help you? So if we are interested in either give you a donation or a grant, who should apply? Project Animal Aid or is the hospital that you presented the Big Fix Uganda? Uh,
I think,
what will be the
um,
process?
Gloria, I think probably it would be better to talk directly with Sarah, and I'm happy to introduce you both over email if you like.
That would be fantastic.
Yes, please
Yeah,
do.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
my organization, well, my foundation, the foundation that I work for, Foxwing Foundation, that is in Pennsylvania, we have the fellowship program, and we sponsor some organizations, nonprofit organizations overseas. And when we choose an organization, we commit for 2 to 3 years. And there is a maximum of $70,000 that we give, but there is also an average according to what is the annual operational budget that you have. So we will not give you more than 20% of your annual operating budget and no more than 70,000. It's kind of the formula. But it would be nice if I have your email because in the future probably we can do something. One of our trustees is highly motivated in, helping animals. And we have been doing that in, in United States, in many, many states. But we don't have any partnership overseas. So that will be interesting.
Oh, Gloria, I'd look forward to talking with you. Please get in touch. Hopefully, the team at
Yeah.
Project Animal Aid can connect us. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you.
Thank you, Sarah. And congratulations for the wonderful job you're doing. It's
So
amazing.
much.
And
Thank you.
along those lines, Sarah, we had another question just about how the Big Fix is funded.
Yeah, that's a great question. Mostly through private donations. And it's, it's really difficult because we're not really able to generate much in the local community because we work in such an impoverished area. Um, so it's primarily from donations outside of Uganda.
Right. Thanks. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank
We so
you.
appreciate everyone's support. Your support enables us to help groups like the Big Fix, like Protect Me Albania, who Liliana is here this evening, like all the other 120 plus organizations. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, for supporting this work.
Yes, everyone, thank
Yes,
you
thank you.
for
Yeah,
being
we
here, for
appreciate
your
it.
support, for making time. For those who are local to this area, we have our big benefit coming up next year. If you want to join for that, if you have people that you know who work in veterinary medicine or human medicine and think maybe they have some supplies to donate, reach out, get in touch with us. We're always open to having a conversation about in-kind donations, financial donations, whatever it may be. And if you are not already following us on social media, please do so. We have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and it's a great way to just kind of keep updated on some exciting things that are happening. And Marcy, our program director, is also a very creative, uh, real producer on social media. So thank you for being here. We're grateful for you and hope that you had a great night. If you have a question, please feel free to email. We can follow up with you. But thank you all.
Thank you for your great work.
That was really great. I just had to say, I don't know if anybody else, but I was emotional and glad that my camera was purple because that made me cry. Some of that stuff was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard to make me cry around this kind of stuff, but I wasn't. You all have a great night, Megan. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Yes, I look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you, Megan and crew.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations on the warehouse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're so
Yeah, for
excited.
sure. That's
We're
really
so
exciting.
excited.
It is big news. Really big news.
Bye, all. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right. All right. All right, Marcy.
Is the meeting finished?
I am going to stop recording now, and then yes, it is
Okay.